Welcome to our next session. And this topic will be an interesting if you all are participating, or it could be in a boring presentation if you all are just going in a listening mode and just spending your next 1 hour, right? Everything is dependent on you, how much interest you are showing. And whenever we are discussing any particular trait or any particular behavior of a leadership or any conflict, then let's see how you can relate with your day-to-day activities. Because we all face different kind of a conflicts as a leader or as a teammate, because we all are working from years, right? So we face in both the parts. So we will start. Before going to show the presentation, I will just ask you, okay, what kind of a conflict, what's your understanding of the conflict? Like, what's your expectation, what we are going to discuss now?
Conflict means disagreement, you can say.
Okay, disagreement. Anything else?
Yeah, for something like a different perception, you can say.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Okay, and what kind of different conflicts we face generally? One is our office environment, right? Other than that, definitely we're only going to talk about the office related stuff, what we are facing as a leader, but there are different kind of conflicts. So can anyone just give a brief and just try to recall what are the different conflicts we have? One of the conflicts we all have with our parents, right? Don't say no. Everyone have. Either if you're with your parents or you as a parents, we have a conflict, right? With our kids or with our parents. That's a family conflict. And those are healthy conflicts as well, right? The second one is the what we are having in our professional career as a leader, as a team member. This is the second situation. Is there any third conflict? Anyone can relate? Any other conflict? Okay, you might relate when we are going to talk about this. So let me just quickly share my screen. Okay. So we talk about what are the conflicts. We are going to talk about as a leaders, what we are going to we generally facing and how you can just act on that particular situation, or if not at the situation, before that particular meeting, like suppose if you have a one-on-one meeting for a particular situation, so what kind of preparations you have to do and what kind of actions you have to take care after your discussion. So there are three stages of conflict resolution. First, there is some disagreement is happening with your team members or your subordinates or your managers or something. Now you have a meeting, like suppose tomorrow morning 10 o'clock you have a meeting. Now what you will do, the one option is just directly go and just join that meeting at 10 o'clock and then go with a blank mind. The second option is just try to do a self retrospective, which is really important. Like the reason why we are what is the main agenda of that meeting. If you are a leader, then it's more important for you to prepare for those kind of things. If you are going to do with your manager, that also important for you to just recollect what happened and why you have that meeting with your manager, right? So you should go with the preparation. That preparation is really important. That's the first stage. Second stage is during the discussion. Suppose you have a 1 hour discussion. Now how you act during that 1 hour, that's really important and crucial, because during that 1 hour your behavior, your actions, your words are deriving the actions which either you will take care for your team or your manager will take for you. Things can go against or things can go in favor as well. So how you can turn the situation which is against you in your favor, that is the thing which is we will going to talk about and learn. And then the third step is, once you finish the meeting, now you created some action items with your managers or your team members. Now what on those action items, when you have to act or how you have to act. So these are the stages we are going to talk about, right? So there are different kind of traits I will talk about. But before that, I want to just discuss different type of conflicts, and these are related to the workspace. Now we are not talking about the like personal or family one. Now we are only talking about the workspace conflict what we have. So the first conflict, which is generally we have, is the conflict of interest. Can anyone give any example? What is the conflict of interest? Anyone? Say, I can finish this call in 10 minutes. I will go. I only have 6 slides. I can go and talk about those things and that's done. But I don't want to do in that way, right? Can anyone just give me what is conflict of interest? Did you face any conflict of interest in your career, in your journey?
Might be I want to work in a particular technology, a particular thing, but I was not allotted that.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone else gave me some other work to do, so that might go as conflict of interest. Like I'm not interested to do a particular work.
Okay, that's one as a team member. Any conflict of interest as a leader? Okay, the conflict of interest as a leader, that's also important. We have to understand the same situation, right? Where your team member wants something else, but we can't provide as a leader because we don't have that particular need right now. And the classic example is you have a QA and that QA is working for like years and he or she might be having interest to move into the full-time Scrum Master role. So that's an interest, but we don't have that opportunity in our organization or specifically at that moment we don't have. So that's one of the situation which creates a conflict of interest. How we will get rid of that we will talk about later. What is conflict of desire?
Desire to be a manager or in the like a good position or designation to get the promotions.
So
And
what conflicts we face? Like we all have right the desire to go to promote to get a higher level of roles or
we were expecting like in the coming appraisal cycle we will be promoted, but we are not promoted then.
Yeah, that could be one of the example of conflict of desire. As a leader, again, conflict of desire.
We have no opening for that particular role in the organization which person is expecting, maybe.
I mean, it's the same thing, but yeah, that's why we are talking about this, because we have to understand these types from both the areas. As a team member or as a leader, what our team members are facing, because generally we are only having the assumptions. Okay, I have a conflict because I'm not getting promoted. I have a conflict because I am not getting what I want. But the same situation and same feelings our team members also have. So as a leader, to understand, because 8 out of 10 times your team members are not directly sharing those kind of things. No one directly come and tell you, okay, I want to be a manager in next appraisal. But you have to be just do a discussion in that way so that you will just try to understand what they want, what is their expectation in next appraisal. So once you initiate those kind of discussion, then you will get to know, okay, your team members are also expecting promotions or they're also expecting like something else. Might be they want to leave the project because they are not getting any learnings for the last 2 years and they want to be moved into some different projects. That could be one of the desire of we have, but because that resource is very crucial and we don't want to lose him or her, so that's why there's a conflict. He or she might applying multiple times on internal openings, but we as a manager we are just rejecting every time because we are saying, okay, this is a crucial time, we can't release you. So that's again a conflict of desire, which as a leader we are not supporting. So how we can deal with these situations, that's the another important part. Now, what is conflict of opinion? That's very easy, right? We all have in our day-to-day experience.
Yeah, so opinion can be like I'm expecting my project manager to hire one scrum master, and his opinion is to one guy can handle. Then why you need a scrum master?
That's a valid example of conflict of opinion.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Vinayak, Surbi, Shweta. Any example of conflict of opinion?
Yeah, conflict of opinion you can have many. It's like even assuming like if you are having a planning or something, you'll have a lot of conflict of opinions. It's like one person might say, okay, we can do it in three uh, 3 hours or 3 days. The other person might say it might require 5.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the conflict opinion to approach, like for to solve a particular problem. Each team members want to derive in a different way, so that could be one of the conflict opinion, and that's generally we are having in our team. Now, what is the fourth one? Conflict of belief. That's very important as a leader. Conflict of belief, because as a leader we have to show the trust on the team, and we can only show the trust or confidence on your team when you have a belief on them. But what is the conflict of belief? The conflict of belief and the very crisp example of not trusting your team member to capable of taking the more crucial actions or roles. The one of the example of conflict of beliefs is one of your team member. He's very good in terms of taking the like some kind of admin access on production environment access and something, but you don't have a belief that particular team member can take care. You say, okay, I can't give you that the production environment access because there might be chances you will do something else. So that's a conflict of belief as a leader. Generally, most of the leaders have, right? And same, the conflict of belief between the team members also have the same thing. And take the same latest example which just Vinay gave. When we are discussing to just finalize some kind of approach, right? And we are saying, okay, we know there are 3 solutions to just tackle this particular problem, but we are not getting agreement of one common solution. And the reason is because each team member, they are having different, why they have different opinions, because they are coming from might be different in the past. They are taking a different kind of a approach to deal that particular problem, but they are not, it's very hard for them to believe the other team member and say, okay, no, I want to go only with the solution 1 because solution 2 and solution 3 is more risky. Now, what is risk we have? Why we are not taking the solution 2 and solution 3? That belief on that one team member is the reason of the conflict of belief, which as a leader we don't have to give a solution. We just have to ask the right question, so that that particular team member who is having a conflict of belief, once we are asking the right questions, he might be aligning with other team members, and instead of solution 1, he can also agree on any other solutions. So on a tough situations, as a leader, we have to first analyze what type of conflict we have. And once you analyze and you understand what type of conflict we have, then only you can take some actions. If you are directly going in a meeting, in a conflict meeting, and you say, okay, I will do a one-on-one, let's only discuss in that one-on-one meeting, it's very hard to deal. The reason, because you don't know what kind of approach you have to take, because each type of conflict are requiring different kind of attentions and different kind of approach to resolve those conflicts. So that's why these different 4 types are very important, crucial to just first understand and analyze. Once you understand and analyze, then we will move into the next step, which is a solution. Now, what is the solution? Before going into the solution, we have to do, as I said, like when you have a meeting, before meeting, you have to do some kind of a preparation. And how you can do that preparation? You can only do the preparation when you have those skills to analyze, to retrospect that particular conflict. Now, what are the important qualities or we need as a leader to just act on those solutions? So what we are going to do is we are just going to talk about next 2 slides in detail. And then in the 3rd slide, we will just going to talk about the real examples, what we have. And in this way, you can also relate, and then you can also give your examples. Like you can say, okay, I'm having these kind of a particular conflict, and then we will see how we can help each other to just give some solutions or some suggestions, at least not the solutions, some suggestions to deal those kind of conflict. So as a leader, there are 9 qualities which we really need. We have. Now, what is the first one is curiosity. Can anyone say why curiosity is important for conflict resolution? Anyone?
Yeah, to find reason behind the conflict. Why?
If you are not having the curiosity, you're not having the intent to solve this, right?
Yes.
So this curiosity is very important. Once you have the curiosity, that means you are going to communicate accordingly. So that's why curiosity on that particular problem. Now, you know, okay, your 2 team members are having conflict, and every time they are having a lot of disagreements on each other's. Now, you know, but you will say, okay, we will connect tomorrow morning 10 o'clock, and then we will discuss. But you have to do some kind of an analysis. Only you will do it when you have a curiosity to that particular situation. You can only identify the problem once you show the interest to analyze. So that's why, as a leader, curiosity is the most important one. Now, what's the second one is emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Can anyone tell me what is emotional intelligence? We all heard about IQ, right? And we know what is IQ level we all have. I know you all gave a lot of online tests to just get your IQ score. Can anyone say what is EQ? Emotional intelligence. So in emotional intelligence, there are 4 quadrants we have. The first quadrant is self-awareness, then self-management, then social awareness, and then relationship management. If you really want to deal a particular situation, if you are not connecting with that person emotionally, you can't take and you can't do a discussion on the conflict. Now, to achieve that, to just align on the same page, the emotional intelligence as a leader is very important. And to achieve that emotional intelligence, you have to understand those 4 quadrants. You should be self-aware about the situation. You should have a skill what are the suggestions you are going to suggest to the team member during that tough situation, and the social awareness. Now, why social awareness is important in one-on-one discussion? Because as a leader, whatever approach you are going to take, this approach might have an impact on the other team members, or to your organization, or to that particular team member which is the part of that meeting, right? So you can't suggest directly, okay, if it's fine, okay, let's take an example of a conflict. You have a meeting with one of your team members, or your team member says he don't want to work on another team member or another developer because they are not understanding each other. Now, the one action is you can directly say, okay, it's fine. I will quickly see where I can move, if I can move into some other project. This is the quickest solution. Is it the right solution? No, because if you're going, might be the problem is in that same guy who was in that one-on-one meeting. If you're saying, okay, if you're not comfortable to work in this team, I will allocate you in the same team. Might be after 3 months, the same guy will have another meeting where he'll say, okay, he has the same problem with other team members as well in another project, right? So to understand the social awareness, where is the issue? What is the root cause? Why this person have the issues with other team member? Is the issue with this guy, or is the issue with the other team member? Or might be issue is only the situation. Might be they both are not having any personal grudges, but they are not capable to just align because of some miscommunication. So that social awareness is very important to give any kind of a solutions or suggestions. And then the fourth important part under emotional intelligence is relationship management. You can only connect emotionally with the people when you know what kind of a relations you can build, right? And until or unless you are not capable to build a relation with your team member, no matter your team member or your manager, it could be in the both the sides, you know that person is not having the same understanding or same expectations what you have, but still you have to work with that situation, right? We can't always say, okay, I will not work in this project, or you will say, okay, give me another project. That could be the last option. I'm not saying you cannot do that. That could be the last option, but that should not be your first option to deal with conflict. So to understand as a leader, the relationship management is very important. So these are the 4 traits. If you understand those 4 traits, you can easily take care of the emotional intelligence quality as a leader. Then we have the next is flexibility. Why flexibility is required as one of the quality of leader and conflict resolution, how it helps. What's the meaning of flexibility here in context of conflict resolution?
Flexible enough to hear out from the team. Until unless we hear like what is the problem, then we won't be able to fix it. So we should be flexible enough.
Anything else? Anyone? As a leader, what's the role of flexibility in conflict resolution is we can't go with the hard guidelines of the organizations. Let's say for a promotion or for a appraisal, if your organization says you have those 10 parameters and the person will only eligible when he or she is having some good grades in all 10, right? That's the standards of organizations. But if because you are a leader and you know your team member is doing outstanding in 8 out of those 10, but he's not good in those 2, but he can improve, he or she can improve, right? So you should be flexible to just convince your leadership why you are in favor of to give a promotion or to give a good hike, because that person is really outstanding in the rest of the 8 parameters, which is important for the long term of that project, important for the current situations, and also important for that particular team member or the kind of work he or she is doing. So we can't always go and say, okay, these are the 10 guidelines and you have to be outstanding in all 10. That's only your eligible. I know that's expectations we have, but sometimes we have to be flexible in these situations as well. That's one of the example where we have to be deal. The second example is when you are resolving conflict between 2 team members, right? The flexibility is the quality which gives you or your team member, if you every time in your past, suppose let's take an example, you are associated with the team for last 1 year, right? And during 1 year, there are different situations of conflict happen in the past as well. How you deal, how you react on those situations. Everyone knows, every team members knows, like, okay, in the past, there were 2 team members who had the conflict and how you resolve those conflicts, what kind of flexibility you showed, what kind of a freedom you gave to just support those particular situation and just get rid of this. So that flexibility should be visible as a quality of a leader. So that's why it's very important. Then we have objectiveness. What is the objectiveness in conflict resolution? Anyone? Why we need an objectiveness? Okay, I will tell you. The objectiveness means when you know you're trying to resolve the conflict between 2 team members, right? And you know there is one person who's always, that particular situation, one person is right and one person is not completely right. So you can't support that one person, right? Because you are a leader, you have to be do some kind of a balance, and you should be stick what is the objective of that meeting, what is the objective of that conflict, what is the reason we have. So instead of giving a support of one team member and just aligning or asking your other team member to just agree on the team member one's approach, that's not the objective. The objective is how you can support both the parties so that they both are, once you're finishing that meeting, they both are going happily, right? And when they have the same situation in the future, they will not reach out to you, they can directly align and talk to each other. But when you're only favoring one team member, and you might be resolving at that particular situation, but if same thing happen in the future, the other team member, he or she never approach you because they know last time you only favored or you only approach, align or give a support to the other guy. So he or she might have assumption like, no, if I will go to, let's take an example of Mukesh, and Mukesh is only favoring one team member, and then the second one says, okay, I will not discuss with Mukesh because he will again take a favor of that other way. He is not liking me, or he is not giving me the support to me, and that kind of a pre-assumptions people are building. So that's why we have to be more objective when we are doing this, and we have to be more like more aligned what actions we are taking when we are trying to resolve the conflict between two teams. Then we have next is integrity and respect. What is this integrity and respect in the context of conflict resolution? Anyone?
We should raise all the concerns with integrity and respect. We should be in the ethics while raising.
Any examples anyone can give in the past, like where people are not respectful or they are not? Any examples on conflict we all face, right? Any examples of? I will give you one.
Once in the project, if dev and QA were working, so there was a conflict, so it goes beyond like the language. So this happens dev think like he knows more, but they are not basically listening to QA, their perceptions, and they
Yes.
use bad language.
Generally, this is very common when we have the conflicts, right? What kind of issues people might be, why you are going, why you have the situation where we are going to lead some kind of a conflict resolutions. The reasons are, might be two team members, they are having some kind of a heated argument. And when they have a heated argument, they are using some kind of inappropriate languages. Or they might be very loud when they are doing the discussions because the other person is not accepting the approach. So that could be another reason of the conflict. Another thing is where people are generally losing their respect is when you call out the names. Like suppose if one of the team if there is a production issue, and you know the production issue because of that particular team member, so instead of calling out the name in the whole team, you can do that. So these are the different reasons we have then why we are going to resolve those conflicts. The one of the example which Megha you said, like where QA says it's a developer's issue, it's not my issue, or this happened because the developer did not do or write a proper test unit test case. So these are the blame games, right? And when people are doing these kind of arguments, they are losing their respect. They're not doing within the integrity. And the another example which people are doing when you're not happy with your managers, right? When you're leaving your organization, how you are, what kind of emails you're writing, that's also important. That also comes under this integrity and respect. If you are a leader, right, no matter how people behave with you, you can't lose your own integrity. You can't lose your own respect in front of others, right? What happened? Take the same example. I'm not happy with my manager, and because of he or she, I'm leaving this organization. Definitely, I'm not happy. The one option is, because we all are sending our emails on the last day, the one option is I can just send a neutral email and I can just easily go and leave that organization. Second option is I can write an email and say, okay, because of that particular manager, I'm leaving and I'm not happy and he or she not supporting and X, Y, Z and stuff. You can leave, right? For you, there is no impact. Then, but what is the impact? Because you write something which is not in the right words, right? You might, what happened is your managers or whoever received that email, he might be communicating in a bigger audience. Exactly. Okay, Mukesh left the organizations and he wrote very bad feedback about the project manager, right? And he sent an email to 20 team members or 50 team members. That's not a right approach. If you are really not happy with your manager, if you really want to give a feedback, just give a specific who can take some actions instead of sending to the 50 people, right? Because you're not losing your respect. Because if you're sending to the 50 team members, might be in the future you get another opportunity where you are going to work with any of those 50 people, right? So they assume and they make some kind of image according to what you did in your past. That's why, as a leader, we should not lose our integrity and respect. And when any team members are doing these things, this is our major quality. How you can be interrupt when you are in a meeting and two people are arguing each other, and if you know this conversation is going in a wrong direction, you have to interrupt. You have to just break the ice. You have to ask the right question instead of supporting that particular argument. So that's why this is very important as a leader when you are going to resolve the conflict. 6, patience. This is similar. Patience, forgiveness. If you're going to resolve some kind of a conflict, most important part is your listening skills, right? How you are, at what level you are supporting and involved in the discussions. Like suppose two team members, you are in the meeting with two team members who are having conflict. Now they are sharing their own like their own reasons why they have a conflict. Well, and whatever the conversation is going on, and what you are doing is you're doing some messages on your mobile, or you're sending an email, or you're writing an email, or you're replying something on the laptop. So these kind of things are really not going. What we have to do is patiently, we have to just show the interest. Yes, if someone is sharing the problem, you are really listening. You're showing some patience. Might be the other person is not right, but instead of interrupting or instead of correcting at the same place, just give them a particular time. Okay, let's listen carefully, patiently, and then after that you can just go and continue the discussion. So the patience and forgiveness is when someone, sometimes in the discussions, people are, when they are having some when they're giving the feedback or the situation, they are explaining the situation, sometimes they are not using the appropriate words or appropriate feedback, right? But you know the situations, you know why this person is having this situation, why he or she is not happy, why they are using these particular examples or particular words. You can't take actions on that situations. If you know as a leader that person is not happy and that's why they are giving you, just patiently listen and then give the feedback. And just you should have an equality of forgiveness. Okay, or let's take an example. You had a conflict with your team member. During that conflict, your team member said something else which is not pleasant for you. But after your conflict, when you have a meeting with your manager or that person, don't try to recall those things. Okay, you don't like that particular word or the sentence or the statement. You can just discuss, but try to forgive. That forgiveness is really important as a leader or even as a team member as well. And then the positive. And when we joined the today's call, right, we were just talking about, like, with Mukesh and with Anomita, when they were saying they are not getting a good appraisal this year, or they get fired, right? But we know these are the reasons, but we should also understand the situation and we should think positively. What positive happened? If there is a conflict, if you are going in a meeting or the conflict resolution meeting, and if you're doing that, what positive you can bring on the tables, that's important. As a leader, if you are going to resolve You know, there are two team members, you know, they have some kind of a miscommunications. They are not liking each other, and that's why you have the back to back those meetings. But you have to just try to understand, try to highlight what positivity we will get between those two team members when they are working together, what positive impact they are making on the teams when they both are dealing any client communication calls, what positivity they are bringing in with the client, in the relation with the client. So we have to, as a leader, when you're resolving the conflict, don't focus on the negative part, just focus on the positive part. All right, so that's more important. Our positive attitude as a leader is more important. The same thing I was talking with Mukesh, and Mukesh said, okay, he got fired in his last company, and but he fired the reason because of the current situations of the layoff, right? But he also get a 50% hike in his new company. So that's a positive what he get. If he did not get fired, right, what he will do, he might be continuing the same organization, or he might be getting the 1% hike, or might not get anything else. So instead of that, it's good like he get fired and at least he get a 50% hike. So you have to think what positive happened in that particular situation and scenario. If you keep your positive mindset on these tough situations, you can resolve any kind of a conflict with anyone, either with your manager, either with your team members. But your positive intent is very important. And then we have the last one, which is humor. Can anyone tell me why humor is important in conflict resolution? Anyone? Why it is important?
To lighter the situation.
Yes. Anything else? Anyone? You did you? I mean, feel any kind of things when you have any conflict discussions with your managers or your senior manager leadership group? Anyone try to bring humor during the discussion? Why it is important as a leader is when someone is sitting with you in a meeting and when they are sharing the feedback, why, first of all, why you have that conflict resolution meeting? Because something is not going good. That's why you have that meeting, right? So when you know the reason of this meeting is something is not going good. And if something is not going good, and if you are asking someone, definitely they will share their experience, why, what they feel, what they have. And sometimes when three people are sitting in a room and two people are giving their own opinion on a particular situations, why they both are not aligned, they are going in a heated arguments. So at that time, a right question or a lighter humor in that particular situation can break it, or a smile where by a leader, by when you're doing a discussion, when you smile on a particular situations, or you just bring something out of the box and just make the situation lighter and just to break the ice. That's the right word, which is important. When you have next time any of these discussions, make sure, and it doesn't mean for after every line or at least every statement is required. No, you have to understand, is this the right time to bring a humor? Can you smile? If someone is not really not happy and if they are sharing their grudges, you can't smile on them, right? So you have to first analyze and understand when you bring the humor in a particular discussion and a particular meeting. And but this is really important as a leader. So bring all these 9 qualities of a leader. Once you bring these things, then you can discuss any kind of a conflict with your managers, with your subordinates, with your juniors, even in your personal life as well. When we have the conflict in our personal life with our like parents, with our kids, sometimes we have with our spouses as well, right? So these 9 traits are really important. When you have issues in your personal life, just make sure you are showing some patience in the discussions, you are showing some intent, like you really want to resolve that situation. If you really want to resolve, that's why if you show these intent, the other person is really showing the interest to go more deeper, they are sharing more thoughts. These 9 days are not only helping in the office, they are also helping in our personal the personal conflicts, whatever we have, with the public, with the with your family members or your office, whatever it is. Anyone have any questions on these qualities of a leader? If not, we can quickly move to the next. Then we have how to resolve. Now you know what kind of qualities you bring, but now you have all these qualities, or like 7 out of these 9 qualities. Now how you will use these qualities during the situation, that is important, and how you can bring these things. If you have the qualities, these are the actions which is really important and help you. The one of them is open communication. When you have the conflict between the team members, it's not required to always discuss in a closed room or in a one. There are sometimes some conflicts which we can resolve with in front of team members as well. And the one of the example which Vinayak said, when we have a disagreement when or in terms of this approach or solutions, or in terms of the estimations, which generally we have when we are estimating one story, one team member says it's a 5, another says no, it's a 2 days of work, one says it's a 5 days of work. So it's a disagreement, it's a conflict. Now the person who says 2, he's not is not accepting 5, and the person who says 5, he or she also not accepting 2. So this is a conflict situation. How you will resolve it? Now you don't need a one-on-one meeting for that. You have to just write a right question in that open form. Okay, why you think it's a 2, why you think it's a 5, and how we can align with each other. Can you help this another team member who says it requires 5, so that he or she wants get an idea why you're giving 2, and you might align, or might be the person who says 5, if he or she explain the right reasons why it needs in 5 days to resolve those things. Until unless we are not discussing, we are not aligning. So the open communication is very important aspect to resolve those conflicts. And second one is assertive communication. What is assertive communication? How it relates? First of all, what is assertive communication? Forget about the current context. What is assertive communication? No one knows what is assertive communication?
Keeping your point with the like reasoning, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, to be more crisp, to be more direct or transparent. When you are having a conflict with any of the team members, or you're resolving, you're giving suggestions, just try to open the current situations, why you have the conflict, why your team members not having the agreement with you. If you're giving your direct explanations or direct reasoning, or if you're transparent with your team or that particular team member for whom you have a conflict, that helps. So whenever you are in a situation where the conflict arrives, just try to do more assertive communication, more direct communication. Like suppose if you have a conflict with your manager, just try to set up a meeting, try to just talk about this. Okay, we did this thing in the morning, and you have a different opinion, or you didn't like how that particular manager approached the situation. You want to just transparent, you want to just give him or her a feedback. That help. If you're giving the feedback, next time they might not giving those kind of they're not using those kind of words when they are doing these kind of situations or dealing the situations. So we have to be more assertive. Assertive communication is really important when we are dealing these kind of situations. Either it could be with managers or anything, right? Or how quickly you are doing, that's also important. That's another aspect of assertive communication is just do as soon as possible. If you feel you're not liking one of the approach of your manager, don't wait for a week or a month, or say, okay, I have a monthly one-on-one, then I will share these feedback. No, if you didn't like something, just try to get a time as soon as possible and just give the feedback. Okay, I didn't like these things, or why. It's not like that I didn't like. No, what you feel, why you didn't like, that's also important. So when you're giving these kind of feedback, just first do a retrospective. Is it the right approach? Is it the right thing to approaching or giving the feedback? Is it a beneficiary for your team or for you or for that particular manager or a junior team member? So that analysis is also important. So that also comes under the assertive communication. Then we have active listening. We already talked about this, one of the skills. When we are dealing these kind of a conflict, when you are showing this active listening skills, the person who's sharing the feedbacks, they are more transparent and they will be feeling a connect with you, and they will be sharing more detail. So that's why when you have these kind of conflict, just make sure you are actively listening to the things. Stress management, that's also very important. How stress management help to resolve the conflict? Can anyone relate? When we have these kind of conflicts, and it's a natural, it's a science, right, behind this, our body naturally produce stress hormones, and those stress hormones will guide our mind to just take decisions, either in the favor of the situations, to fight, to just always stick to your point, or to just fly from the situation. That's why what we are doing, right? When you are having some kind of a disagreement, what we will do? Either we will leave that particular room or particular situation or the particular discussion. That's how we are dealing, right? Or the second option is just stick to your own opinion. No, why I am right. This is the only solution, or we will only do this. These are the only two options generally we are choosing, right? Can anyone relate these two situations during the conflicts? Either we raise our voice or we left the room, right? So that's why this is also important. When you have these kind of situations, you can't raise your voice, you can't go in a fight mode, or also you can't leave the room. You have to be just show your other skills, patience, give some time. If things are not resolving, don't go into too much detail and argument. Just leave that as of now. Move away. Set up another discussion with that person, and then try to go in deeper discussions. So that's why the stress management at that particular moment is really important. And this helps in our personal life as well. When we have arguments with our family members, don't use these two stress hormones cause. One is, don't leave that argument or discussions without ending, and don't raise your voice. If you are taking care of these two things, if you're controlling your hormones, that's very easy. You can resolve any kind of a conflict, personal or professional. Then we have the next option is collaboration. How collaboration helps? I mean, what kind of collaboration you will do when you have a conflict with your team member? Anyone?
Yeah, team collaboration with doing some external activities.
Okay. Anyone else? What collaboration required? Collaboration means it's not necessary each and every time you have to resolve the conflict. You might be the manager, you might be the leader of the team, but it's not your responsibility or not expectation from you to just resolve that. Sometimes you might require help or assistance outside your own boundary areas. If you understand that thing, if you are happy to get an help from outside, that also absolutely fine, and that's really helpful. And how it helpful in terms of the conflict resolutions? Let's take an example. There are two team members who are having the disagreement on some kind of a technology issues. You are not that much technical, when you're going and setting up the meeting, you can't solve this because you don't know which approach is best and why to just favor in any one of the approach. So what you can do is just approach the right person in the organizations who have the better understanding of that particular problem, who can guide the team. And the example is, if two developers are fighting, they are not aligning with each other, just involve the architect in the conflict resolution meeting and just take the support from that architect so that they can do that. Same thing is, if two team members are having some kind of a not technical, some kind of a personal arguments on something, right? You might not have the skills to deal with. Just go and approach someone from the HR team or someone who already deal these kind of things in the past. Just take a guidance. If you don't want to include those team members in the meeting, that's absolutely fine. Just share outside. Try to just discuss, okay, my two team members are having these kind of issues. I know you had the experience, how you deal this. Can you just help me how I can solve these things? So that collaboration is really helpful. Don't try to resolve each and every solution, problem or conflict by your own. Okay, sometimes we can't, and we have to accept that we are not having each and every kind of understanding or experience. So it's no harm if you're taking any collaboration or any help outside. That also helps. Then we have compromise and negotiation. That's also, sometimes you have to compromise when you're dealing the conflict, right? It's not always you will say, okay, no, you have to do this. No, if you are expecting promotions, but we can't give you, and this is clear because you are not up to the mark. It's fine, you are not eligible. We can't give you the promotions, but we are also giving you instead of a promotion, I will give you a shorty, we will give you a good hike. And if you have worked on those kind of two things, we will definitely consider you on the promotion, or might be not after a year, we can give you a promotion in the middle as well. So these kind of things, where you can also, you can't go with a strict feedback or something. And there is no harm if you're compromising on those particular situations. So that's also important as a leader to just compromise and negotiate. They both are the similar kind of thing. How, as a leader, if you negotiate the situation, that's also helpful. Same promotion discussions or an appraisal discussions you have, right? You can't say, no, we will not give you anything else. Sometimes we have to do a negotiation as well. If the person is really expecting like 20% and you're only giving 2%, and you know this person is very crucial for your team, and he can easily go and leave the organization, and then it's a big impact. So then you should go in the negotiation mode as well. I know you're expecting 20, we can't give you 20, but I can try to make it like 5 or make it 7 or something. So that negotiation is really important. This is only one example. Another example is when you're resolving the conflict between two team members. At that time, when you do a negotiation, like, okay, it's fine, I know this is that person's mistake, but please give another chance to that person. And next time, if you're giving the chance, next time I will give you a surety, this will not repeat, or that person will not do these kind of things again. So, but you have to do those negotiation and compromise with the team members. That's also important. Then we have a problem solving and accountability. These are the last two. The problem solving is when you stick on a particular situations, focus on the particular situations, and if you don't know the solution, that's also fine. But if you know, just try to give them, but don't try to give them a direct solution. Just try to give them some hints, try to explore them, try to identify by themselves. So sometimes it's also not necessary. If you are going to resolve a conflict, you are resolving at the same meeting. Sometimes it takes a time of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, because you have to work on the other person's nature or attitude or behaviors. So it takes time. So sometimes you might have a crisp solution for the problem, and sometimes you might need time. So just ask the time and do that. And then the accountability is also very important when you're resolving conflicts. How the accountability is related to the conflict resolutions? Can anyone give a brief?
Accountability is basically you need to own it.
Yes,
It's like,
I mean, yeah, it's not
irrespective,
only, yeah, it's not
irrespective.
only we have to own it.
No, no,
Sometimes we have
it's
to
like,
make other person also accountable.
yeah. So basically, if you are, let it be, if you are handling any story or any a report, any project, anything is, it's like, even though other team members might help you, but ultimate, you should be accountable for whatever responsibility you have. You should be
Yes.
the owner of it. It's not like, okay, that person had got it done from someone. It's not my mistake. It's like, he had sent, so I just forwarded whatever he had said.
I mean,
So
yeah,
that is,
it's in
yeah.
both the sides. First
Yeah.
is you should be accountable in a particular situation. And sometimes when you're giving the accountability of the other person, then he or she might also feel more confident, right? So sometimes what we have to do is we have to, okay, I know this is a situation and I am expecting from you next time you will lead and you will do better. So what you will do is you just giving some kind of a freedom to other person. I know we had this situation in the past, and but I know you are more capable. When we have the similar situation in the future, I know you will deal it. You are making the other person accountable, or to just give them some kind of a lead. Yeah, you can do that. You can lead these conflict, and I'm expecting this will not happen. So these kind of, like, it work like a boost. So you're boosting other person, right? So that's how it helps. That's why the accountability is also the option how we can resolve the conflict.
And even it's like, irrespective whether you get the credit, whether you don't get the credit, you should be accountable for whatever you're doing.
Yes. Okay, so these are the things, and now we have a couple of examples. So like this is one example. An employee doesn't take feedback well. This is one of the conflict, right? When you're trying to give the feedback to your team members, if they are not accepting the feedback, they're saying no, I'm doing outstanding, but you're saying no, these are the areas where you need to improve. So what kind of qualities you have to bring and how you can solve these kind of situations? So this is the problem, conflict. You can use the open communication. You will be more assertive, or give the other person keep more accountable for the particular things. So that's how you can resolve. Another example is where two team members get into a fight during a meeting. So how you can do that? So stress management, shifting away from blame and shame, and the compromise. So these are the techniques which, if you're using during these kind of a conflicts, which helps. And then the third one is leaders can't seems to agree, where you have a meeting with your manager and your manager is not accepting, or you have with leadership, like, okay, why your team is not underperforming. When you're trying to giving the explanations, and if your leadership is not aligning and they're not accepting your reasons, then how you will deal these kind of a conflict? You will be more assertive, more collaborative with your leadership. Try to ask the questions, try to ask the suggestions. Okay, how I can make it? If you are not happy, what options we can do that? You can, because you are in the leadership, you can guide. You just do a more collaboration with them, asking more solutions instead of giving the solutions. And same problem solving attitude is really important. And what kind of negotiations you can do when your leader is not aligning or agreeing on your approach. These are the couple of examples. Other than that, if you have anything else or any questions from the discussion, we finished almost on time. But if any one of you really want to share any conflict which you face and you want to discuss, we can do that.
Yeah, Chetan, one thing I thought to
Mhm.
ask. Like, so, say I have conflict with my manager,
Mhm.
and how come like a conflict with the person I have, he can resolve? I think we need a third person to decide on that.
I mean, it's not required each and every time, but if you tried all the other approaches, right, but still things are not resolving, then definitely you need the third person to just resolving those conflicts. But first of all, just go, try to do a discussions, try to understand your manager's expectations, why your manager is not aligning with you, why he or she have issues or conflict with you. The reason might, they might be expecting something else from you,
Yeah.
right? Just try to ask the right questions. Okay, what is your expectations? Okay, if they says, okay, I'm expecting these three things, and then you can say, I know now, I know you are expecting these three things, and it's not necessary you have to work on all those three. If you are saying no, I can only work on these two areas, and this third areas is not comes under my role, or I can't do that, then you can completely deny. But then you are giving in a right communication. You are doing a discussion. You can say, okay, you have a three expectations. I can only work on two. The third one is not comes under my role, or I can't improve on this because I don't feel. First of all, I don't feel I'm I'm not up to the mark on the third areas, or is it really important? The one of the thing is, if you are doing, let's say, if you are a QA manager, right? If your project manager wants you to play the Scrum Master role as well, but you are not having any interest to play the Scrum Master role, so you can just straightforward deny the same thing. I know you have expectations, but I don't see myself to be involved in this role because I don't want to go in the future. So that's a pure disagreement. Once you're showing the disagreement to your manager, next time they might not have the same expectations. So when you have these kind of a conflict, do a direct communication, transparent communication. Try to ask the questions as much as you can, what they expect, what you are doing, where is the conflict, where is the mismatch in the communication, and how you can improve. And ask the questions to your manager itself, how you can improve. Instead of giving the solution, just ask it, okay, how I can. These kind of things will help you to resolve the conflict with your manager.
But things are not always straightforward. Like even I try to understand from my manager's side, like for the thing, like I asked him for some other role, he denied me for 3 months, and then at last I didn't have any option, so I have approached to a different manager.
See, I'm not saying these are the best approaches and you will get outcome each and every time, right? But you will not get a regret if you tried these things and you say, okay, I tried with my manager, even after giving so many attempts, things are not resolving, or I'm not getting what I'm expecting. I already spent 6 months, I already had multiple discussions. So this is the right time for me to just approach somewhere else. Either you can approach to the senior managers, like whoever the top in the hierarchy, right? If you already approach your managers about your interest in some other areas, and if you're not getting, you can just approach someone else in the organization. And if still things are not resolving, or there might be kind of a hierarchy where you can't bypass your manager, then definitely you can leave the organization. That's the only thing, right? But you will not have a regret. Okay, I gave my 100%. I tried to resolve from my side. Things are not resolving. It's fine. But we will learn. Even we will learn from our failures as well. So if you had 3 meetings, 3 discussions, all 3 meetings are not having any outcomes, still you're learning from those 3 meetings. Still you're learning what kind of like the managers have in the market and how you can deal with these kind of things. So when you have the similar situation in the future, you know how you can approach, right? So that's how it helps. But none of these techniques give you an surety you will be driving everything smooth. But if you're stuck, just approach, try to inspect which solution is best, then that might help you. Anything else? Anyone? Any other queries?
Thank you, Chetan.
Yeah, Chetan. So as you know, like I'm serving notice period, I faced a situation where my manager was on leave due to some personal emergency, and then his manager contacted me and called me in off working hours and made a personal comment related to my new organization role. So how to tackle those situations? Like as I mentioned, in my resignation also, like when people contacted me, like I'm getting the better designation, better role. So on that role, they basically raised a question, and over the call. So how to tackle those situations, because I was very disappointed, like I put so much effort in the organization, and when I said like I'm serving notice period, and with this reason due to some task or something, they are just making fun of it, and they are passing the personal comment.
Why you? Okay, I mean, I know this is something which is hurts you, right? But why you think to resolving this particular situation is really required at the moment when you only have 1 week left?
Yeah, I don't want to resolve it. Just like if it happens like in my new organization or with something similar to that, so how to tackle those situations?
In
I
how many organizations you worked till now? Different organizations you worked,
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4. So you have at least 3 different notice period durations, right?
Right.
Did you feel these kind of things first time, or you already feel similar thing in your past as well?
So these kind of like the previous organization, I spent like around 8 years. So based on that,
You
I
have a
never,
good terms and understandings with the
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
But and prior to that, it was my just start of the career, so I don't.
Yeah. See, one thing is, when I said when you have to deal these kind of things, most important part is self-retrospective.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, someone is making fun of you because you are leaving, because you are getting something which is, might be they are not getting that what you are getting right now, right? So they might feel jealous. That could be one of the reasons, and then why they are making the comments on you, right? If things are really going too much personal, then definitely you can reach out and you can just give the feedback. But sometimes, if things are not that much personal and not like impacting you, I will suggest just let it go. That's really important. In your career, when you are going in a more like senior roles or leadership roles, these are very common, where you have to deal with other leaders, right? At the team level, at the like at the if you're in a hierarchy, the bottom 3 or 4 hierarchies are very smooth and easy. As you are going up in the hierarchy, like any delivery manager role, project manager role, or release manager role, or any like till any CXO role, these are things are very important. Where people are trying to just relate and compare what you are doing, they are trying to comparing themselves, and then they are feeling jealous, and it's absolutely fine. And that's why people are doing in social media, right? When people don't like, that's what happening with Adi Purush. There are two kind of audience. One says it's a nice movie, second says no, it's pathetic. But they are just sharing their own opinions. But what the maker is doing, that's it, that's more important. So you have to be more crisp, and you have to just first do self retrospect. Is it really required for me to act on this particular situation, or just ignore that person? Or you can just give a small one liner. Okay, I know this is the thing, but I don't like it, it's too personal, you should not comment it. No matter if he is a manager, he is a manager's manager, you can just give your feedback what you feel, right? That's one of the options. Be transparent, more vocal, share what you feel, don't hide, but don't try to resolve each and every solutions.
Okay,
Sometimes
but
you have to let it go.
yeah, but it's okay to mention that to my manager, like this happened to me, and
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely, when you have a conversation, you can share that. What will happen? Your manager will also get a feedback about the third person. Might be someone else in the future is if leaving, they can also do the same thing with that person as well. But if you're sharing the feedback or your experience, they can do it and they can handle these things. They can take some action against that person. Might be someone else not suffering. Might be you suffered in the particular situation. Whoever is next who is leaving, they might not suffer. So it's definitely beneficial. You should be more vocal, share what you feel, but don't try to share in an email, in a harsh mail, or in a harsh conversation or something. Just if things are not too much personal, just try to give a normal feedback to your managers. And if your manager is doing the same thing, just try to do the same feedback to your manager's manager. That will help. So someone else will not suffer on those things, right? But there is no straightforward solutions.
Yes.
These are the things what we can do from our side. Then let's leave it.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Anything? Anyone else? Okay, then we are good. I will share the next topic, and then we will see. We will do next to next week. As I said, now we are doing 2 sessions in a month instead of 4. So we will discuss. If any one of you really want to talk about any specific topic or anything, you can also just reach out and just let me know in the same group, and then we can discuss. Okay.
Chetan, how about this certification? Shall we do some dummy or something like that? Or,
I mean, I already talked about in the last sessions, but I mean, it's
Oh.
fine if you want, we can do that. I mean, but I will not schedule and set discussion. I mean, if
Oh.
you're interested or anyone else is also interested, we can set up some anytime, like 30 minutes call, and we'll do that.
yeah, because anyways we have completed. We'll revise it and maybe after a month.
Yeah.
we-
Okay,
I-
we'll do.
Yeah.